Have you ever wondered whether one day you might still be alive, but no longer truly living life on your own terms? What many people fear most in old age is not really illness. It is the feeling of being left behind, speaking and no one listens, feeling sad and no one notices, and little by little becoming a burden to the very people they love most. Many people past 70 quietly endure life that way, until their bodies grow weak and their hearts grow tired. And only then do they suddenly realize they have neglected themselves for a very long time. Mr. 2, 73 years old, used to think that old age only needed two things, a full stomach and a good night of sleep. But what he lacked most was the feeling that he was still useful, still able to take charge of his own life. If you are still watching, leave a 1 in the comments to remind yourself that old age is not the time to give up. In this video we are going to look back at 5 very important things to hold on to, so that the years ahead are not only long, but steady, peaceful, and full of dignity. After 70, the scariest thing is not getting older, it is slowly losing the right to be in charge of your own life. Some people still eat well and still live in a home where children and grandchildren come and go. Yet inside they feel emptier and quieter with each passing day, because they no longer feel needed the way they once were. What makes old age so exhausting is often not pain or sickness, but the feeling of helplessness. Even wanting to do one small thing becomes difficult. Even wanting to say something feels risky, because they worry they will be seen as a bother. And once a person starts believing that they are nothing more than a burden, that sadness quietly eats away at their self-respect day after day. Mr. Bay, 73 years old, once said that he was not afraid of hardship. What he feared was the day he would still be alive, but everything in his life would have to be decided by someone else. If you are still here with me, leave a 1 in the comments as a gentle reminder to yourself that old age does not mean surrender. In this video, we are going to look back at 5 things that are truly worth protecting, so that the years ahead are not just extra time, but years lived with steadiness, peace, value, and full personal dignity. Many people over 70 begin to think they should rest as much as possible, move less, and slow down in everything to save their strength. But if you rest too much, your body does not hold on to its strength. It actually grows weaker faster. Your legs start to feel heavy, your back gets tired easily. Climbing just a few stairs starts to feel like too much, and little by little, even small tasks like going to the market, bathing yourself, or cooking a meal become difficult. The sad part is that when the body loses strength, a person often loses confidence and independence along with it. Some kinds of hurt are never spoken out loud. They come simply from having to wait for other people to help with things that once felt easy. Mr. Sow, 75 years old, used to believe that at his age the best thing to do was sit still and take it easy. But the longer he stayed inside, the more tired he felt, the worse he slept, and the heavier his spirit became. Since his son encouraged him to walk every morning, do a few light exercises, and eat in a more balanced way, he has started to feel lighter, steadier on his feet, and more clear-headed. He said the most precious thing was not how far he could go, but the fact that he could still open the door and step outside on his own 2 feet. Keeping up your physical strength is not about proving that you are still strong. It is about protecting your ability to care for yourself, preserving your independence, and holding on to pace in your later years. The older we get, the easier it becomes for the heart to sink because of very small things. One day when the children or grandchildren are too busy to check in, one lingering backache, or simply noticing that you are no longer as quick and capable as before, can be enough to make many people feel sad, hurt, and quietly think, I really am old now. The most dangerous thing is when that sadness goes unnoticed and is allowed to grow into pessimism, self-blame, and constant comparison with people who still seem healthy and cheerful. When the soul loses its light, it becomes very easy to live without excitement, without purpose, and to let each day pass as if you are only trying to get through it. But old age does not mean you have to live in sadness. What you need to protect is not only your health, but also a spirit that knows how to lift itself up. Sometimes all it takes is listening to a favourite song, reading a few lines of scripture, sitting on the porch and watching the evening settle in, or saying a few gentle words to yourself, and the heart already feels much lighter. Mr. Min, 75 years old, lived quietly after his wife passed away, while his children stayed busy with their own lives. Since joining the poetry club in his village, he has slowly found joy again. He has people to talk to and a place where he can share what is in his heart. Every morning when he wakes up, he feels that the new day still holds something worth looking forward to. Holding on to optimism means keeping your spirit from withering, so that at any age you still see yourself as worthy of love, and still full of value in this life. If you are still watching at this point, leave a 1 in the comments to remind yourself that old age is not the time to withdraw from life. It is the time to stay clear-minded and protect the things that truly matter. And if you feel these words are worth hearing, please share this video with someone you love. There is one thing that many older people go through, but rarely say out loud. The older they get, the more they withdraw into their own 4 walls. At first, it is just reluctance to go out, reluctance to trouble other people, or discomfort around crowded places. But over time, that silence turns into the feeling of being forgotten, and loneliness grows a little more each day. If a person no longer has conversations, no longer sees people, and no longer feels that they belong to someone, the heart can slowly dry up inside. Old age does not just need medicine and enough food on the table. It also needs the warmth of care, the comfort of people checking in, and the feeling that you still have a place in the life of your family and your community. Mrs. Hoa, 78 years old, used to live quietly by herself and only went to church once in a while. Since a friend invited her to join a Sunday morning wellness group, she has slowly become cheerful again. She has people to talk to, people to share a cup of tea with, and people to laugh with over old stories. Because of that, her life has become visibly brighter. Keeping social connections is not just about passing the time. It is about reminding yourself that even at an older age, you are still precious, still needed, and still hold a very special place in this life. After 70, money is no longer about competition or getting rich. It is about making sure your life is less dependent on others. Many older people feel uncomfortable talking about finances because they are afraid their children or grandchildren will think they are being calculating. But the truth is that when you no longer have any control over your own money, it is easy to fall into constant worry, uneasiness, and hesitation even over the smallest personal needs. You may want to buy medicine, go to a checkup, or eat something you enjoy, but you have to wait, ask, and think about whether you are bothering anyone. Over time, the lack is not only financial, it reaches all the way into your self-respect. Mr. Hai, 77 years old, did not have a very stable pension after retirement. He did not complain, and he did not want to become a burden to his children and grandchildren, so he saved a little money and opened a small roadside fruit stand. The income was not much, but it was enough for him to buy his own food, cover his daily expenses, and feel more at ease. What made him happy was not how much he earned. It was the fact that he still had the right to decide how to live his own life. Holding on to financial independence, even if it is only enough to get by, is still a way of protecting freedom, peace of mind, and the dignity of a person who has already walked through most of life. Many people after 70 tell themselves that their life has already been enough, that there is no need to dream anymore and no need to begin anything new. But that very thought is what makes the years ahead feel quiet and empty. When a person no longer has anything to look forward to, no private joy to nourish each day, it becomes very easy to slip into merely existing, living only to get through one more day. That is why old age is not only tiring for the body, it can also grow heavy in the heart. The truth is that at any age, people need something to love, something to pursue, something that makes waking up in the morning feel joyful and worthwhile. It may be learning an instrument, practicing painting, tending a few garden beds, doing volunteer work, or finally trying something you have always wanted to do but never had the chance. Mrs. Knock, 72 years old, once thought her life no longer had meaning after her husband passed away. But from the day she began learning silk painting, something she had quietly cherished for a very long time, she gradually became happier again. She even sold a few small paintings, earned the admiration of people around her, and made her grandchild very proud. Holding on to a dream, no matter how small, is not about proving anything to anyone. It is about keeping your soul bright, warm, and able to feel that life is still worth living. Those 5 things are not just pieces of advice for getting through old age. They are the things that help you protect the most precious part of your life, your independence, your self-respect, and the feeling that you are still useful. The older we get, the more we need a body that is still strong enough and flexible enough to care for itself, an optimistic spirit so sadness does not swallow us whole, warm relationships so we do not feel forgotten, a little financial control so we can live without depending entirely on others, and one small dream so that each morning still begins with something to look forward to. When you hold on to those things, old age is not just the final stretch of life. It becomes a season of life that is deeper, clearer, and more peaceful. If you have listened this far and there is one thing you most want to hold on to, you can share it in the comments. And if there is still a fear about old age that you have never spoken aloud, you can gently write that down too. Maybe your story will be the very thing that warms the heart of someone else who has been quietly feeling the same way.